Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 2 between Nada and MorroW. This time we are on Tal Darmalter, and again, this is game number 2 in the best of 3 series between these two players. How's everyone doing today? Yes, I am doing dandy. Today is a good day. I made a lot of videos today. I'm actually pretty stoked about that. Whenever I'm in a good production mood and I'm feeling good and I just churn out a ton of videos, it's phenomenal. I cannot tell you. You know, there's a lot of times where I'll be like, okay, I got to get some videos done, but then I just feel like, I don't want to do it. Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to do your job, and this is my job, and sometimes I don't want to do it. But overall, I can't really complain. I would have to say this is a pretty sweet job making videos about video games that I love. So anyways, yes, game number 2 between Nada and MorroW, this time on Tal Darmalter. Looks like we're seeing MorroW move out with that Overlord Scout. Going to be, of course, going to that incorrect position, unfortunately. And he's actually, what is he doing with that? Just dancing around. He's going to have him go over here, hang out above these palm trees over there. And I think that's a little gem hanging out over there, too. So that's pretty cool. I really like, I don't know, I'm sure, you know, when we're playing the game, we're too busy, you know, focusing on everything we need to be doing. But visually, I really like the scenery here in this game. I think just very nice. Very pleasing to view. Look at that, it's just a little crevasse, a little cliff there, a little palm tree chilling out over there, swaying in the wind. Look, it even sways in the wind, doesn't it? Does it sway in the wind? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Nada coming out with that barracks at the front of his ramp. He is going to be going again for a quick expansion. Last game didn't quite work out in his favor, unfortunately. No, is he going to be doing 2-racks? I think he is. Looks like that second SCV is down here to do a 2-racks, but denied from that drone scout, causing a little bit of harassment. So that Rax is going to have to be placed down a little bit later than he would have liked, and that's actually going to slow up the harassment here. Nada's trying to engage, though, with the SCV from the main mineral line, and that is actually going to force MorroW to pull back there. He was attempting at first to kill off that SCV as he's at pretty low health, but doesn't want to lose his drone as a result either. That really does nothing for you. Eye for an eye, you much rather just have a small victory or not lose anything at all, you know. And plus, yeah. Anyways, yes, MorroW's coming out with that quick expansion himself. There is that spawning pool as well. So you're going to be seeing a 2-racks opening here from Nada, and then he will be moving out into his expo. Now, you can't just 2-racks and not apply aggression, because if you just 2-racks and you sit in your base, then you're probably going to get baneling busted or a strong roach push, and that's going to be very hard for you to deal with. So what we need to see Nada do, of course, is he needs to move out with some of his Marines, maybe an SCV or 2, apply some pressure here on MorroW, and force him to, what's the idea? Force him to make Zerglings instead of droning up. And because if you just let him drone up, he's going to get a decent economy, then he's going to switch to all harass, and he's just going to blow through your frontal wall. And that's pretty much the last thing you want. So yes, that is the mentality here behind this opening build. Move out with these Marines. Here's some SCVs as well, as expected. Another Marine and a couple more Marines going to be streaming on in as well. And depending on how effective this initial push is, he's going to choose to either keep doing what he's doing, or he's going to decide instead, hey, you know what, I should just get my expansion down. Now you can see right now Spinecrawler coming down for MorroW, and let's see what he decides to do. Is he going to actually try for any bunker placement? Would like to see him to try for bunker placement. Makes this harassment infinitely more effective. We've got a ton of workers coming down. These Marines just going to be harassing. After forcing that cancellation, he's actually going to be waiting to rally up with some troops here, and then going to be pushing on in. Doesn't want to run into too many Zerglings unnecessarily. We see a couple more drones coming out. Now we want to keep a close eye on what MorroW does for Zerglings. He's going to realize at this point, I need more Zerglings. We got, okay, that bunker's being placed down. Drone's going to be come down as well with that Queen, and actually he's going to be forcing those Marines and SCVs back, and then it's going to allow him to push back and quickly take out that SCV, getting us around here with those drones and those Zerglings as well. Marines trying to micro back to as much damage as possible, doing a good job with that micro. Very nice work there. With that Queen, though, while he forced all those Marines and SCVs back, it did allow him to actually drop down that bunker, and he's not going to be able to repair while it's building, so that's just going to force the cancellation there. What is Nada going to do at this point? Is he going to keep it up? We got a couple more Marines coming down. Finally decided to come out with that expo once he had those extra 400 resources while continuously building those Marines. But here comes that continuous aggression. We have a Spinecrawler trying to be built back there in the corner. Going to try to micro back. What those Zerglings want to do is try to get us around and let those Queens catch up as well. But again, some nice micro here from Nada. Very nice play. Really liking this. Again, just increasing that survivability of these Marines. Very impressive. That's exactly the kind of thing you like to see. Looks like at this point, though, Nada's going to be deciding to push back and expecting that. You can see actually MorroW decided to just drone up. He wasn't too concerned. Now that Spinecrawler was finished and with the Zerglings he had, he wasn't wasn't really too concerned about spending any more larva on Zerglings, and that of course was the proper decision, because had he made more Zerglings there and not have retreated, then that would have hurt him economically, and that's kind of the last thing you want to do, because that's the whole focus of the Terran player when he pushes out for this, is to hurt your economy. So don't give him the benefit of that if you can so help it. MorroW now up with that extractor, going to get that saturated, probably get that metabolic boost right away, and then go up for that layer right after that. That is what is going to be expected. We have a third Rax coming out for Nada. There we go with that command center. Just about finished right now. There's a fourth Rax as well, so you're going to be seeing a bio-heavy build this time. Last game, we did see Nada transition from that opening of the one Rax into expansion. We did see him transition into factory tech, allowing him to get those Infernal Pre-Nada Hellions. Looks like this game, though, going to be going a little bit more bio-heavy. Maybe Marine Tank. That seems like a fairly probable decision. Definitely likely and an effective one as well. Now, going to be interested to see at this point what MorroW does in terms of expansions. Is he going to go for another Expo, or is he going to go 2-base strong aggression? I'm going to expect an Expo given the size of the map. It's much more likely that he would choose to just expand rather than, you know, hey, I'm just going to try to all in him and kind of cross my fingers and hope for the best. Now, we do have a factory up right now. We can see just churning out those Marines nonstop. Tech lab down, so let's see that stim pack and or combat shield. Going to be starting with that stim pack. One Zergling spotting the frontal wall there. He can see that Expo right there as well. So obviously at this point he's fully aware. So here's really that decision making here from MorroW. Are you going to expand, buddy, or are you going to try to push out? Now at this point though, he is dealing with some aggression, a large Marine force pushing out right now. I don't know if he has enough at this point. He does have this one spine crawler, second spine coming down as well, but he is not going to see that until right now. So here it comes. Heavy amounts of Marines. Drone's going to be forced to push down right now. This is not what MorroW wants to be doing. Dealing with these Marines, very frustrating. He's going to be taking lots of losses, trying to pin those Marines in the corner. But look at all the drones getting lost right now. This Marine micro preventing that surround, doing tremendous amounts of damage to this economy. That stutter step is just a thing of beauty. It's so nice to watch. Queen going to move forward, and he should be able to mop up these Marines. Yes, it looks like the Queen will, in fact, mop up the rest of these Marines. But man, not without the loss there. Taking a quick look, MorroW losing 47 units, over 2,200 resources lost, as opposed to only the 1,300 of Nada. In Nada's half, that is one fair trade indeed. So very nice harassment there. Here comes that transition right now. We're going to be seeing those siege tanks. There's a starport as well. Medevac for some harassing. Very likely to see maybe a Viking or two to try to do some Overlord sniping. That's not an Overlord. That's just a Zergling. So not a lot of Overlords actually spread out throughout the map. So Viking, unfortunately, wouldn't be all that effective for that purpose. So yes, Marine tank is what we're going to be seeing here. There's a Medevac, of course, helping those Marines, but might even see some drop harass. Now again, we really, MorroW was set back, and he really needs to get himself back in this game economically. Looks like his decision and his method of doing so is going to be getting the Spire, getting out some mutas, and trying to return some of that harassment that he dealt with. He wants to try to kick the economy of Nada back a few notches, basically, because he cannot stay in this position, because right now he is falling steadily and steadily behind, and that's not a good thing. Now, he does have some really nice saturation right now, so he's finally able to keep up with where Nada is, but the problem is that as a result, his army tab is just pretty damn low. Look at that in comparison to Nada, and you may wonder, how did you know that, Forrest, before even popping up the army supply? Well, it's pretty logical. The fact that he lost so many workers forced him to have to make a ton more drones just to get back on board. We're going to be seeing some drop harass right now. Now, we do have stim Marines here as well, so that stim's going to come into play. Going to start working on the economy again, and still this harassment's so effective. Zergling's pulling forward. Going to want to try to Michael his back and pull them on up when he gets outnumbered there, and there you go. Picking them up and heading back out, pulling back with that medevac right before he loses too much HP. We do have got one Zergling scouting around the map here, going to be checking for any possible expos. Looks like that medevac's going to be heading back home, and looks like we're going to be seeing a strong Marine tank push sometime possibly soon. We do have that combat shield just about finished right now, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he tried to move out with some aggression. I'm going to be repairing that medevac, and let's take a look back over here. We do finally have some mutas coming out. We've got 2 more building, 5 in on the board right now, so that's going to be 7 total. I think at that point he will decide to push out and do some aggression. He doesn't really just want to chill around his base with this. A couple more Zerglings moving out to do some scouting. One of the Xel'Naga going to be checking those expos there as well. This one just missing the Xel'Naga. Oh, you missed the mark, Zergling. Gotta get back to the right position. Now, at the same time, of course, we're going to see MorroW expand. He's been on the same number of bases as Nada for quite some time, and that is a very dangerous position as a Zerg player. So he needs to return fire right now. He needs to hit and hit hard. We've got 4 more mutas coming out. Just a few Zerglings. Taking a look at the army tab, MorroW is a little bit behind behind. A little bit concerned there as well. Scanning the high ground there, checking, and then dropping that Zergling, and then going to be continuing up this push. So here comes the aggression. MorroW might be a little late. It looks like he's not going to be able to push out with these mutas quite as of yet, because right now he has to deal with this. Getting vision to the high ground with those medevacs, allowing those tanks to rain hell here on this expo. They are within range of that worker line there. But here come the Speedlings, Banelings, and mutas rolling on in. Does he have enough, though? It doesn't look like those numbers are quite high enough. There are a lot of Marines right now microing away from those Banelings and then shooing off. And we got a couple of Marines here on the high ground as well, doing a bit of damage to this expo. This is a very tough situation right now for MorroW. He's going to have a hard time dealing with that. Managed to sequester some of those Marines there right in the corner that allowed him to drop those while the reinforcing Marines were back here. So very nice there by MorroW. Kind of a little misplay by Nada, leaving those Marines by themselves to have to defend with those mutas. So going to be rallying up his troops right now, going to be lifting them up, pulling them up on the high ground, and then here comes that tank, going to be sieging up right here as well. This harassment of this expo has just been relentless by Nada, and this is precisely what he needs to do. You cannot let a Zerg player macro up. You've got to hurt his economy as much as possible. Banelings rolling right into those Marines, though, trying to pick them up, sniping down that tank at the same time. Banelings rolling in from the other side, trying to push back those Marines. That was effective by MorroW. He did exactly what he needed to do, you know, trying to snipe the tank at the same time, force that Marine fire away from the tank to stop it from protecting it from those mutas with those Banelings on the low ground. So very nice play there by both players. In all honesty, the effective harassment here from Nada, but also the effective countermeasure. But still, you know, MorroW is very far behind right now, and he has not returned fire at all. He has done no damage to the economy of his opponent Nada at all. Just zero, squat, nothing. He spent all of his resources just trying to defend here, trying again, but a little low on the muta and Baneling count, and these Marine numbers are too much right now. He cannot deal with this, sniping down that one spine crawler. Gonna be pulling forward again, trying to deal with these low Marine numbers over here while we were having that transition of those Marines to the high ground. So he's gonna be able to actually do enough damage to take care of this right now, but his army count is dwindling. He's got a very low muta size right now, just with the 4 mutas, 18 Zerglings in play. He's got 10 more coming in, a couple of Banelings as well, but his mining over here has been terrible. Now he has managed to transfer some workers down here, so he does still have some mining going on, but overall I'm gonna say it's pretty bad. Yes, economy wise, he is certainly behind Nada at this point. Nada really just needs to keep it up. Looks like he himself is going to come out with an expo over here. Hopefully he gets a few guys over there to try to work on the rocks. It looks like MorroW is going to be aware of that expo, but does that mean he's going to be able to do anything about it? Banelings rolling down, mopping up those Marines. Very nice there by MorroW. Managed to catch that one just in the nick of time. At least for the time being, Nada's push has been stopped by MorroW. But again, MorroW has taken heavy losses. We do have some reinforcements coming out. Let's take a quick look at that unit loss tab. That's not a good position at all. MorroW is so far behind it all. Once more, as I said a few minutes ago, before that big push from Nada came out, you can see how far behind resource-wise in terms of units lost MorroW is. But MorroW has got to return the favor to his buddy Nada. He has got to push out, and he has got to do something. He cannot just try to defend all day. In the game of StarCraft, a good defense will not win you the game. You need to be aggressive, and you need to harass and mess up someone's economy. That's got to be one of your primary focuses in the game, and if you don't do that, then you're definitely going to be on the short end of the stick. Couple of overlords chilling on out over here, just moving on all over the place, trying to get some better scouting, looking for drops. This is what he's trying to do right now, putting those overlords all over the place. He wants to see if any drops come, but it looks like no drops will be taking place. More of just a strong push down the center of the map. A nice spread there of those tanks and Marines, trying to better handle those Speedlings, Banelings, and mutas, and that's again what he needs to do, because remember, the whole focus of MorroW is to send in those mutas to attack the tanks, roll in the Banelings to push back those Marines to stop them from sniping down the mutas. Now Muta's going to be going out for the counterattack finally right now. We're 18 minutes into the game, and it looks like MorroW's going to be trying to do some aggression, but no. A couple of missile turrets actually just push him back to his main base. Could try to hit up the backside here, try to snipe down some of these tanks, but we do have a good Marine spread here from Nada, and Nada just slowly pushing forward, basically one tank leap at a time, and again, he wants to keep these Marines back here just to defend against mutas running in the back and sniping them down, because that's his major concern. You're going to ask, well, is he just really bad and not activating his units, not using his units? No, he's just keeping them spread on purpose. But here we go, Speeds of Bane trying to roll in. There's a very nice tank spread here, though, and nice Marine spread as well. Mike going back away from those Banelings. Looks like there are enough Marines to snipe down these mutas. Mutas push back. We do still have 2 tanks up and functioning right now. And still, not a whole lot of mining going on over here. He does have this base nice and saturated. It's pretty much been unspotted by Nada. Yeah, he doesn't even know about it right now. He's been so focused on this expo. But take a look over here. Finally trying to get rid of these rocks, but still he has got mining going on. I expect his resources to be much higher. There it is, of course. A couple of Speedlings trying to roll on the backside and take out these units. And yes, they're going to do a pretty good job. Marines pulling back to try to deal with those mutas, trying to micro away there as well. Some Marines on the high ground managing to snipe down those mutas. Muta's getting a little bit too close to that edge. Some more Marines over here sniping down the few remaining mutas that are left. Now we have lost all of those tanks, all but one actually. There's still one tank on the high ground. Here comes some more reinforcements here from Nada. Nada pushing up again. There's just been no mining going on at this expo for quite some time. Untapped resources, if you will. MorroW's been too busy defending his own base, but he has not been able again to do any aggression whatsoever. And Nada's just gonna still stick in this position now. We do have a Thor coming in play, and it's gonna do so much splash damage to those clumped up mutas, but not before MorroW calls the GG. Nada opened up this game with some Two-rax aggression, followed up by an expansion. The big thing, of course, in the Two-rax pressure is to try to force that Zerg player to make Zerglings instead of drones. He did do a really nice job of doing the stutter step here, moving back those Marines and doing that stop shoot command, allowing him to prevent that surround and do as much damage as physically possible. And this really definitely set MorroW off of his game. Nada kept pushing with this Marine SCV aggression, which of course forced MorroW to make a ton of Zerglings. Now, although this allowed MorroW to deal with this pressure, it also put him in a position where he wasn't droning up. So he was able to fend off this initial Marine wave, but still, his economy suffered as a result. After dealing with that initial harassment, MorroW spent the rest of his resources recouping his losses and trying to catch back up in terms of economy to where Nada was at. However, since Nada was the aggressor, he did actually have a higher tech and stronger economy. He was able to go for a Marine with the Stim Pack and Combat Shield, also get up siege tanks and some medevacs for some harassment. With that first medevac, Nada did drop some Stim Marines into the expansion and again hurt the economy of MorroW a little bit. You can see right now MorroW responding by pulling down those Zerglings and Queens, but Nada was able to pick up those units and get out just in the nick of time. Right as MorroW was starting to work up his muta numbers and get ready to actually move out with some counter harassment to hurt the economy of Nada, Nada pushed out with a strong Marine tank presence, getting some vision of the high ground of this expansion with those medevacs, and started shelling out with the siege fire on the expo. Now this harassment in this position took place through the remainder of the game, and although we had attempts from MorroW to deal with it, he was never able to fully clean it up because throughout the course of the game we had a nice tank and Marine spread from Nada, and he was just able to consistently fend off the attempts of MorroW to deal with this containment and harassing. After several attempts, MorroW proved to be incapable of properly fending off this Marine tank aggression here in this given position, and given the fact that MorroW was never at any point able to actually push out against Nada to do any damage to his economy, that put MorroW just far too far behind and forced the GG. Alright guys, so that is game number 2 between Nada and MorroW. We are now tied up at 1-1. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, please do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for game number 3 in just one moment. And as always guys, keep watching and keep owning.